with my good buddy from England, who I talked about in my Why I'm Curious About Visiting the UK. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, so as you know, in the comments section, I am ikid TV, and I've spoken to some of the people who often regularly watch it. I mean, Justin and mixed videos like.
Oh yeah, everyone's very chill here.
There can be some that can be dicks and some that are alright. They're okay, not too bad, I guess.
That's true. But the video we're doing is Idris did this on his channel about Mafia 3, and I've wanted to do this for a while, talk about why I think it's very underrated. Now, is it perfect? Does it have its flaws? Oh yeah, like, I personally didn't buy it at launch, but I know from what I heard from people it was very bad at launch. Now, I'll let you, Idris, tell me if that's true or not, but I heard it at launch it was very bad.
Well, looking from a launch perspective, like such big features like, I don't know, character customization, not making it to the final game. And you know what, from a launch day perspective, I'd probably say, like, I would agree because, obviously it has game bugs, but the reason why I wouldn't say, oh, this is like a big issue and it determines the success of the game, because it's so typical with games these days.
And they fixed it eventually.
Yeah, that's why I never really put it as cons if I was to ever review new games. But
no, it's not. Yeah. Now there is one glitch that I sometimes ran into, and this is I would say is one of the flaws. Is sometimes I have ran into a glitch where it prevents me from completing the game. But other than that, those are like the only two flaws, are the character customization and the occasional glitch. But what are the positives? Now I'm going to say some and I'll have Idris bounce back on some. First one is the story. Now I know everyone says, but it's not like Mafia 2, it's not a real Mafia game. I'm sorry, but bullshit. This is basically what mafias do and gangs do. Because, let's be honest, are they really that different? Thinking about it realistically, because you're doing the same thing. You're building an empire, and you're building it from the top, and kind of starting from scratch. So, let's be honest, is it really that different? You tell me what you think, Idris, on that one.
I think, well, the way I see it is, I think they've done a great decision in sort of kind of shifting the atmosphere. It still has that sort of kind of that dark atmosphere with I don't know, the way I see it is sort of, it's like how Vito says you get all the things you eventually want, money, cars, clothes and all that, but there's a price.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But wait, what was the question again?
I was saying how, people, how they complain that it's not like Mafia 2 and 1. And they say it's not a real Mafia game just because it's not the typical Costa Nostra crap. But I kind of said how I disagree, because if you think about it, this isn't that different from that. It's just...
Wasn't this the case with San Andreas as well, when they knew that they'll be playing as a black protagonist?
Exactly. And one of the positives I'm going to add is Lincoln Clay's voice actor. I fucking forget his name at the minute.
Isn't it Alex Hernandez?
Yeah, Alex Hernandez. He does such a good job. And I fucking died again. He does a really good job voicing him. Whether it be the emotion, whether it be the scenes. Alex Hernandez does a fantastic job. And you do have Vito return, and his same voice actor Rick Pascone, he does return, and he does a phenomenal job, because I'll get to Vito in a sec, but all the voice actors do a good job, especially Burks. I love Burks' voice actor, how he has the very heavy Irish accent. It's very cool. And I just think the voice acting's really good. And one of the other things I love about it is it does a good job setting the time period. Now, I happen to live in the southern United States myself, and you do kind of see remnants today of what it was like in the past, and you do learn about it, and they do a really good job setting that up, because, for example, they do have the whites only and blacks only signs. If you hold a gun in front of the police, they will come after you. It's just the details work. And it was said in 1968 when the civil rights era was still going on, and if you think about it, that's really interesting for that time. You playing as a minority in a time when segregation was big. That's one of the things that made me buy the game. Is I thought that was really cool. Yeah, because I think it's something different, it's something new. That's what I love, is the story. Now, Idris, you want to bounce back and give your opinion too?
Yeah, I think, you know what, the change in direction, like having a different coloured protagonist who ain't necessarily Italian-American, slick-haired gangster, I thought was a very good choice decision made by Hangar 13. Like, if Mafia 3, let's just say, was like another sort of wise guy story, being a
it wouldn't work.
It's not that it wouldn't work, it's just that, like, it would be but repetitive. It would
Exactly.
Just, like, not distinguishable.
Exactly.
It's like it doesn't have a unique selling point. It's like what all these stuff are supposed to be for, to help promote it.
Yeah, exactly, because I feel like in the trailers, that's one of the things that really grabs your attention, is the time period it's set. And in a way, this is kind of like Vice City, if Vice City had a really dark story, because I can guarantee part of the reason all the events happen of Lincoln, his whole gang getting murdered and basically wiped out, I can guarantee they don't exactly hint this, but I can guarantee it's not just because Lincoln didn't want to take that territory at the Harlow, but I can guarantee part of it was probably because of his skin color. If you think about it. Now, they don't really tell you if that's the case, but I have a theory that it might be. Would you agree, Idris?
Well, I mean, he did. We was gonna betray Vito, and I think it was more for like just because like they clearly said like, well, I think it was clearly hinted out like how he was. The whole plot was just him building casino to get away from the criminal empire and legitimize himself.
Right.
Like, just kind of say fuck you to everyone and just like sort of ditch them, get them killed, or so on.
And the death scene when Lincoln kills Georgie, spoilers, but this game's been out since 2016, so I think everyone knows it. That was one of the most satisfying kills in a video game I have ever seen. Because I love what it does, is the whole revenge story. Now, another thing, I know people complain, one is how Vito's betrayed. I think it makes sense with the way the events were in the second game. I think it makes sense why Vito is the way he is in the third game. Because if he was like I was kind of like just a kid, you know, building up in the criminal world, it wouldn't make sense if it was just a copy and paste of the character. And why you see after what happened the second game with killing Derek, the stuff with Falcone, with him going to prison, being sent to the army forcefully. I think it makes perfect sense why Vito's written the way he is. And I thought that was a really smart move by Hangar 13, writing Vito the way he is. And I like that they at least don't force you to kill him. They give you the option to, but it's not like, I don't think it's canon, if that makes sense. But one of the things I love is the way Vito's portrayed is, I think it treats him well, and if you think about it, the endings, whether you keep everyone alive or you do the ending where Lincoln drives off, I think Vito gets a really good ending. Now, in my opinion, the other endings where you keep Cassandra and Burke alive, just them, they do not work, in my opinion. Because they don't make any sense. Like Cassandra, it's just basically, oh, he gives her the territory, and then poof, everything's now gone. And it's there's no population. Or You give it to Burke. Oh, he goes to Mexico to get his liver changed. In my opinion, that doesn't make sense. But I think keeping Vito alive or keeping everyone alive, both of those are the canon endings. Now, another thing I'd love. Now, Idris has played Mafia 1. I have not played Mafia 1. I have played Mafia 2, and I think the controls suck dick in Mafia 2. Mostly the driving, and the shooting's alright, but what I think works in this game is the shooting. Now, Idris, you want to tell everyone, I've heard from you and from everyone, is that the console version of Mafia 1 sucks, and the shooting sucks. Now, do you want to confirm that?
Yes, it's just basically a comparison to GTA 3. They're very similar. Like, the shooting is just dreadful. You know how dreadful GTA 3 is with the camera and GTA 1.
Yeah.
No, sorry, not GTA 1, and Mafia 1 there.
GTA 1.
Yeah. Got to the GTA 1.
No, but yeah. And I think they improved it in this game because it feels very fluent.
Yeah. Well, Mafia 1, it was just like a very, because it was originally made for the PC, and like the shooting, the hit detection was like there in the PC version, but it wasn't in the PS2 for some weird reason. And having three games primarily for console just doesn't work. You literally need auto aim every time.
And you told me how easy it is to die, I remember.
Yeah.
At
But
least
I still enjoy the shooting though, regardless.
I find Tom's death sounds the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, it's a bit shame they didn't reuse his death grunts in Mafia 2. Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, and I fucking died again. But yeah, I think the shooting works, the story and all that works. Because I think it's a very dark, very gritty crime story. And it knows what it is. And I love some of the interactions, like some of the characters I love. Vito, of course, because Rick Pascone does a really good job voicing him again. And I like the way he's dressed in the second one, and you can, even though you can tell how much the second game really did a damage to him in the third game, if you think about it, because the way you notice it the most is like, in a way, he kind of reminds me of, you remember how Phil Bell was in GTA 4, being very paranoid and all that?
Yeah.
Vito's kind of like that, very paranoid, and he had his sister leave him, his mother die, all the stuff in prison, his best friend getting captured. Now, I know there's the quest you can do in this game, but which I do count that as canon, by the way, but yeah. I think it makes sense the way Vito is. Now, what do you think, Idris? Would you agree?
Yeah, you know, it actually kind of reminds me of sort of Michael DeSanto in a sense that they're just kind of depressed. It's sort of like, what the fuck are they doing with their life and all that.
And I think him and Lincoln... Oh, go ahead.
In that sense, I feel like he did kind of pay the price because all of it suddenly fades away. It's just there temporarily. Just, you know, the gun, what he was saying. He was kind of like predicting his kind of...
His fate.
At that time.
I agree.
Like
and another thing is, if you do decide to kill Vito, which I personally think is the wrong choice, you do actually see that he does kind of have some regret. He references Derek, he references Leo Galante, and I find it interesting is they do at least make callbacks. Now, they don't make callbacks for the first one, which I understand why they made that choice, because if you think about it, it wouldn't make very much sense. But at least they make pretty clever callbacks if you think about it. And I like that because it at least reminds you, yes, this is the same franchise. Because it's kind of like another underrated Part 3, Max Payne 3, which a lot of people hate that for some reason. Oh, fuck it. Oh, cop. Oh, darn it, the cops got me. It at least reminds you sometimes that just because it's a different developer doesn't mean it's a different franchise. It's still the same franchise. And another thing to get to my loves is they did a good job on capturing the city. For those who already know, I've been to New Orleans. That's whenever I met Nick in person. New Bordeaux is a pretty accurate representation of New Orleans. And it does a good job at that. Now, Idris, you want to I know you did your video on Mafia 3. Do you want to get into some of your loves about it? Idris for a minute, so go ahead, Idris.
Yeah. Oh wait, sorry, sorry if I'm...
Oh no, you're good.
I'm on that import and export mission where you have to get the cargo. Anyways, yeah, Mafia 3, what's the things I love about the game? I think the main reason is like, well, other than the story, the decision, like, of the different context compared to the past two, I would have to say the gameplay. Like, I just fell in love with the game as soon as I played it.
One of the things.
Very fluid.
Oh yes. One of the things I fell in love with the most was the fucking takedowns are brutal.
Yeah.
Like whenever Lincoln.
When he stabs the
yes.
guard like 3 times.
3 times, or whenever you're holding a gun and you just do the normal thing when he breaks the people's necks.
Yeah.
It's epic in my opinion. And another thing. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is that when he gets the guard on the ground, and if you have like shotties, it seems more brutal, and then he obviously puts his feet on the guard's neck and then he just headshots him.
What I love is whenever you have the rifle, it's the Hartman .330. Whenever you get from behind, it'll just put it around his neck, twist it, and then you'll hear the big snapping sound. Or another one with the knife is whenever he stabs and it pulls the guy's thing down. Now, it's not so brutal to where you can see his guts turn out, which that'd be kind of interesting if you did that. But no, it's not that brutal. And another thing, like Idris was saying, is I like that you... I know this was another thing people didn't like, but I like that you can pick your own story, like choose your own path. Now, we can all debate what we think is the canon ending, but that's one of the things I thought was cool, is that you can pick your own story, pick your own ending. Now, in my opinion, Idris will give his opinion. If he's quiet, it's because he's focusing, but I think the endings that I think are canon are definitely keeping everyone alive, giving everyone split territories. That's an ending I think is definitely canon. But let's say, for example, Lincoln doesn't keep everyone and he picks one. In my opinion, if Lincoln picked one person, he would have picked Vito, no questions. Because, think about it. They both kind of have the same kind of idea. They both have mutual respect for each other, because you see in the first cutscene, Vito references the time he was in war, like Lincoln was in the Vietnam War. Like Vito was in World War II, Lincoln being in the Vietnam War. They do reference that. The fact that they have the same idea about the Empire, and the fact that they basically get along and they basically respect each other. So, in my opinion, out of all of them, I think if one of the... Sorry for slurring my words, I'm talking a little loud. Let's say, for example, if it ever got to the point where Lincoln keeps one person alive, I think it'd be Vito, no questions, because of those reasons. The fact that they have great chemistry, they're easily able to work together, and that they both kind of have the mutual understanding. Those, in my opinion, are the canon endings. Now, Idris, I'll let you go ahead and you give your thoughts.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to add on the Vito thing. It's kind of like how they know what it's like losing people. Like, obviously you said Joe being captured by the men and then gets his hands all brutally chopped off in Chicago. And then obviously Lincoln literally getting his whole foster family literally slayed in a pool of blood.
Exactly. I didn't even think about that, actually. That's very true.
They both understand sort of like the concept of just avenging.
They do, and they know what they do. I didn't actually... I didn't even think about that. That's very true. And speaking of Vito, I'm just going to come back to this mission because I keep fucking dying. You'll laugh whenever you see it on camera, but yeah, I never even thought of that. That's actually a very good point, is the fact that they have that mutual understanding of what it's like to lose people. They have the same idea. And if you think about it, it's kind of hinted in one of the sit-downs, is that Vito thinks of Lincoln like a son. Son he never had, at least. And I like that because you can kind of tell Rick Pascone and I fucking forget Lincoln's voice actor's name. You can kind of tell they had chemistry when they were working together.
I feel like it's also another thing. They both will know what it's like to get fucked.
Oh yeah.
Fucked over.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, and my battery's getting low, so just 1 second. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get my battery, but yeah, they do. I agree with that. They know what it's like to get fucked over and get screwed over pretty much.
And also, I think I thought a bait one is like they obviously get along the most because you know how Bert kind of looks Lincoln in sort of a different aspect of how.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know how he can't be truthful, and you know how he gets something revealed to Lincoln about his cancer, and then him and Cassandra, having
because I never even thought of that fully, but yeah, they get along the most while it's just kind of like 50-50 for the other two. Now, yeah, that's the number one thing I probably love the most is how well him and Vito really get along. I thought that was very well written and very well portrayed. Now another character I love, and it'd be cool, like if Hangar 13 ever came back to do another DLC, I would love it if they did it kind of like Joe's Adventures, but instead of Joe, have it with Donovan. Because I'll let you give your thoughts on Donovan, but I think Donovan's really cool in my opinion. Because of the fact that he's in the CIA, he helps out Vito, and they have good chemistry as well. I'm not sure who Donovan's voice actor is, but his voice actor does a good job. Now, tell me, what do you like about Donovan, Idris?
It's kind of hard. Wait, he helped Lincoln take down the whole sort of
Oh, yes.
family.
For sure.
Oh yeah, that moment when he just shoots that senator.
I know, he's a badass too.
He's a very surprising character. You wouldn't expect.
He's very funny to me, and his voice actor did a good job for him.
It's like also that funny joke, when he was it was Lincoln who done it. Like, Lincoln
Yeah, I agree. Or whenever the scene when you see him ripping off the communist poster. Here's a reference. If you're wondering what cutscene that's playing, it's the cutscene for Vito's I Need a Favor mission where he references his ma. But yeah, I kind of agree with you there. It's like Donovan's kind of like a surprise kind of character. Because if you think about it, he was there for Vito the most. Being in the army. And one character I'll admit is my least favorite. It's definitely Father James. Because he's kept very unlikable. He kind of like loses faith in Lincoln, you can tell. And he's kind of hypocritical because like Lincoln pointed out, he was there whenever he did all the bad stuff. Now he's questioning it. Yeah. Not a fan of Father James. Would you agree?
Yeah. I don't think it was... I thought he was that sort of guy to just kind of let it slip by. I don't think he kind of understands sort of like the suffering Lincoln went through because like the guy was an orphan. And I don't think he kind of knew what it was like. Especially that moment when when his whole family got killed by Marcano and the crew. And that he makes such remarks like, "Oh, I wish Lincoln died within the fire."
Yeah. That's to me like the most makes him unlikable in my opinion, because what did you think he was gonna do? Fucking stand there and stick his head up his ass? Or no, he was gonna do it, Daniel, and meet somebody in Germany to have cereal. No, I'm kidding.
it's kind of funny as well because I actually asked Justin, like, how would you compare Daniel and how would you compare Lincoln? And you said one's weak and the other one is very strong.
Yes. In a way, I kind of think of Daniel like Brucey, but yeah. But yeah, that's what I like about Mafia 3. I think I've talked about it enough. I know this was either short or very long, but the summary is...
Yeah. Wait, there's one thing I wanted to add.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Go ahead.
There's like, you know how after Lincoln comes to the church after he killed Marcano, or if Marcano killed himself, depending on... he kind of just talked about how he's just going to repeat Sal Marcano and be a dickhead and all that. But we kind of learned through that if you choose to rule together, that Lincoln doesn't stab people in the back, like how he just you know, he makes sure the right people get paid and
exactly
and all that.
He's kind of that criminal. Oh, go ahead.
I kind of feel like he kind of had that sense of paranoia that it's going to be Sal Marcano all over again.
I agree, honestly. And if you think about it, if you choose the rule alone ending, that basically is him turning into Sal Marcano. That's an ending that's also one of my least favorites because it doesn't make sense, in my opinion, how it's like, okay, the people that helped me, I'm gonna murder them because I want it all for me. Yeah, to me it just... But yeah, I think that's all I can mention. Do you have any more to mention, Idris?
Yeah, about that ending, like, people in the comments, like, they were talking about, like, sociopath and all that, like, him being a sociopath. Like, if he's clearly empathetic and vengeful for his, like, foster family, then it's just kind of, it just doesn't make sense. It just contradicts the whole...
It does.
You know...
It's like GTA 4's ending. You know...
Like, when...
Yeah, go ahead.
Told him about the cancer thing after you do the side mission when you get, like, all the boats and all that, like... When he says that, he's like, oh, fuck, I didn't know. And, you know...
It does kind of fit, and it's kind of like, if he was sad about losing his foster family, then why would he murder the people who helped him get on top? That's at least the way I think of it. I don't know about you. And one of the things I also got to mention, though, Burke is probably the most stereotypically portrayed Irish person.
Drunken fool.
Yep. Although I do think he is a good character because of his story and all that, but I do agree, though, that's something I've always thought is, it's like, oh my god, he's so stereotyped. Alright.
Like, I feel like he was so backlashed by the event of, you know, what happened and the betrayal. I mean, I feel like it took longer for, you know, with Burke to regain, like, sort of Lincoln's trust.
I agree. Kind of like took him a while. It's like, do I really trust him?
You're gonna tell me where I can find the councilman. Yeah. Lucky's supposed to be playing cards here.
Now I'm interrogating him. And this is another thing I like is, here's what I mean by how the kills are epic. I'll press X.
Rest in peace, asshole.
Lincoln says really badass lines like, rest in peace, asshole. But yes.
On the way up, that was my favorite one. Either make sure I was dead, or that or I was dead.
Now I think I've said everything I need to be said, so... Idris, just to make sure again, do you have anything else you want to mention?
I don't know what explicitly said in Mafia, on my Mafia 3 video. I mean, I've talked about the gameplay. I've talked about, you know...
You talked about the killing Asian simulator thing.
Oh yes, we need to talk about that. I'm sorry,
sure.
The fanboyism just fucking irritating. It's kind of like the whole sort of scenario with San Andreas and comparing it to Liberty City Stories and
or GTA 4.
Yeah, it's just, you know, how sort of the sense of, like, you know, it's like wacky things like how monster trucks don't appear in that. But like, back to the thing, like you obviously get all these sort of like kind of like those SJW-ish sort of fanboys and comments like let's talk about this one, the killing white boy simulator. Like,
I saw that one too. That one made me cringe.
the way I see it is like they're implying it in a very massacre context. Like they're going on a rampage, they're killing, you know, to get their way.
You were saying?
Asshole with a gun.
You were saying?
Sorry.
Oh, wait, is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh yeah, about the whole sort of like killing white simulator. Like, this is one of the fanboyism comments. Like, they're implying in context like, oh, Lincoln goes on a massive rampage and all that. What about? I kind of forgot what mission it was. 13th mission or something. You know when you killed Mr. Tong? No, that guy.
Mr. Tong, yeah.
Yeah, and then you obviously, because like, you know when they kill Henry.
Oh,
They
yeah.
clearly went on a rampage to avenge for Henry.
Exactly.
That's essentially killing Asians. And essentially, if we're looking at that game, Asians were very discriminating. I mean, for crying out loud, Asians were banned going into country.
Oh, yes, it was. They were. It was during the Chinese Exclusion Act.
Yeah, and I think only 3% of like the immigration like was allowed to come in.
Pretty much, yeah.
This was part of the whole Roaring Twenties, you know, sort of.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. Exactly, because another thing I don't get when anyone says that is they don't seem to realize is this is 1968, not 1998, not 1988, 1968. And they do a good job at showing how big racism was at that time, and they show that it was not pretty. And I think Hangar 13 did a good job at that. And another thing I wanted to mention is another character, another villain I thought was really good was, I thought I was going to end this, but now I got more to say, is Remy Doucette. Remy Doucette I thought was portrayed really well. Nolan North, who, if you guys don't know, everyone pretty much knows who Nolan North is. He plays Nathan Drake, everyone knows who Nolan North is, let's be honest. He does a good job playing Remy Doucette. He's vicious, you hear him on the radio, and the way he kills him is brutal. Now what do you think of Remy Doucette?
That's my favorite. He was a typical sort of, he was just like the typical Southern American, you know, racist sort of like,
yeah.
Because that's obviously, you've got to have one of those characters if you're going back to the context and exploring through the story, but yeah. He was definitely a sort of a great character in disguise, I'd like to say. And definitely my favourite scene, when he just puts him on the cross.
One of my favorite things to do in that mission is to get Molotovs and throw them at all of the KKK members. And you get to hear them suffer. It's fucking awesome. Now another great thing about this game, unfortunately I cannot play it during this video or else I'll get fucking copyright, is the soundtrack is awesome.
Yeah.
You got the Rolling Stones, you got Clearwater and Creedence, you got basically a lot of music from the 60s, and I love that. Kind of like how Vice... Pretty much, yeah, that's what WB and NBX pretty much is. It's just K-Dust in the 60s. You got the "We gotta get out of this place." My singing sucks for the record. But I love the soundtrack and the details, like I said, but I think I pretty much said all I need to say. Like, whenever you kill all the characters and... Oh, wait, I know another one. Tommy Marcano, when you kill him. But I'll let you go first, Idris. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to talk about soundtrack. Like, this is so much of like an improvement over Mafia 2. Like, Mafia 2, the only really notable acts I could really think of was Buddy Holly, but like, there wasn't really like big acts.
Yeah.
I just think he's awesome.
I agree.
Don't really have that.
And if I'm correct, that was the same for Mafia 1, is the soundtrack wasn't that good.
I think it was just like composed soundtrack and not actual official licensed music. But then again, I kind of give them up. It's kind of like comparing to GTA 3 because it's like their first game. We don't know if it was going to be successful or not.
That's true. That's true. So it'd be kind of an unfair comparison.
Fictional.
But yes, soundtrack is great. It does it really well. And I also love the Born to Be Wild. That song is fantastic. That's probably my favorite song on there.
All units, search is called off.
But to what I was saying, all the character deaths are brutal. Whether it be Remy's, Olivia, excuse me, Olivia Marcano's, hers is brutal. And you know one who I'd love to kill him in a brutal way is Tommy Marcano. First off, that's probably my favorite mission in the game because I love the boxing sequence. It's epic. And you know what I love doing to Tommy Marcano?
Yeah.
Letting him die, like letting him burn. Because I don't know if you know this, but like, it's kind of hard to notice this. It kind of takes you a bit. The fuck? Okay, that was weird. My game was glitching. But like, if you leave Tommy Marcano there, he'll just burn and you'll hear him screaming from it.
The only thing we need to work out is your funeral arrangements.
Yeah. But you hear him burn and then you shoot out at a burning building. It's kind of like, what's that mission in GTA 4 for Ray? Not a Long Way to Fall, where you're on the hotel building and you're killing all three of the Jewish gangsters. It's been a while since I played. Yeah, that one. It reminds me a lot of that, to be honest. But yeah. Now for real, I think I've said all I need to say is the endings are great, the story is great. It's not perfect, there's a lot that can be improved. But I think Mafia 3 is undeservedly hated, in my opinion. It was my favorite game of all time, but Red Dead Redemption 2 overpassed it. But it's my second favorite game on or it's not my favorite game of all time. Favorite game on PlayStation 4. Red Dead Redemption 2 surpassed it, but it is still number 2.
Isn't Red Dead Redemption 2 supposed to be based off New Orleans as well?
Yeah, it is, actually. Saint Denis. It's pretty well based off of New Orleans. Part of the maps. But yeah. Idris, do you have anything else you want to say? This video is pretty long already, but I figured we'd check first.
Gameplay, soundtrack, story...
Returning characters.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about that.
The final mission was epic. Yeah, I think I covered it all.
There's one thing. Oh wow, I did not cover one thing that I hate. And I think I might say it again.
Go for it.
To do with the outfit character customization.
I
It was
agree.
a fucking pre-rendered cutscene. How can we not mention this if we...
Exactly.
looking back at it now?
That's another flaw. I agree 100% is Hangar 13 was stupid for that. You should have been able to... You should not have done that, Hangar 13, putting pre-rendered cutscenes. Because
it's so lazy for a AAA game, because obviously, yes, you would... okay, many game developers, obviously, they do use it for trailers, like to showcase the game. Obviously, it looks much better than the actual game.
True.
But, you know, laziness.
I mean, it made sense, like in GTA 3,
Even
for
though,
example.
Like, they are trying to... Sorry, wait.
No, you're good. Go ahead. You're mentioning the...
even though they're trying to... Yeah. Even though they were trying to address the fans' complaints of not being able to, like, change your clothes. I mean...
They still didn't take it away.
Yeah.
Call me if you need me.
Really stupid and bizarre. It's kind of like with Big Rigs, like, you couldn't customize your cars in launch, which was a bit of a shame, and it could have played some sort of role in, like, one of the missions, but... And they consider it, yes, we finally added it, it's a full game, but the problem is, like, who's going to be able to make great use of this feature other than just free roaming aimlessly, which
I agree.
Gonna do.
And it made sense, like, in GTA 3, because GTA 3 was in 2001, and it was new. It was a very much brand new thing, so GTA 3, it made sense why you couldn't customize your character.
Wait, how comes?
Well, think about it. It was 2001, and it was a very new system, very new hardware, so it kind of made sense.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you do start in a different outfits.
Yeah, true, but like, I don't know. That's kind of varied, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you disagree, we agree to disagree, but I love Mafia 3, and I always will, so... Thank you guys for watching, and Idris, do you have anything to say? I'll link your video down in the description too.
What, Mafia 3 term related or?
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
saying-
Well, anything for the video since I'm about to end it.
Nah, nothing much.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching. And